What if I told you there was a man in the Bible who never died? Not metaphorically, not symbolically, but literally never died. Because according to Scripture, he was taken, removed from the earth, before death could ever reach him. And what's more unsettling is how little explanation we're given. His name was Enoch, and unlike almost every other figure in the Bible, his story doesn't end the way it should, because the pattern is always the same. They lived, and then they died, over and over again, name after name, generation after generation, until suddenly, that pattern breaks. Enoch lived, and then, he was gone. No death, no body, no burial, just one line. He was not, for God took him. Think about that. A man, simply removed from existence, and no one questioned it. No explanation, no details, just gone. But the deeper you look into his story, the stranger it becomes. Because Enoch wasn't just taken. He was different. Even before he disappeared, the text says, he walked with God, not followed, not obeyed, walked, as if he had access to something others didn't, as if he understood something others couldn't. And that raises a question. What did Enoch know that made him different? Because whatever it was, it changed his fate completely. And then comes the part most people never talk about, because outside the Bible, there are other ancient writings, texts that expand his story, texts that were never included. And in those writings, Enoch doesn't just walk with God. He sees things no human was meant to see, the structure of heaven, the movement of stars, the place where fallen beings are kept, secrets of the universe itself, knowledge far beyond human understanding. And suddenly, his disappearance doesn't feel random anymore. It feels intentional. Because if Enoch saw things, if he learned things, then maybe he wasn't just taken. Maybe he was removed. And if Enoch was taken, then the question is, where did he go? Because the texts don't describe it as death. They describe it as a journey, a transition, from one world into another. And what he saw there was not peaceful. It wasn't calm. It wasn't what people imagine when they think of heaven. Because the first thing Enoch encounters is not light, it's separation. He is taken through layers, realms, each one different from the last. And in one of them, he sees something that shouldn't exist. Prison, not built by humans, not made of stone or metal, but something far older, far more absolute. And inside it are the Watchers, the same beings who descended before the flood, the same ones who broke the boundary, now bound, still alive, still aware. And according to the writings, they weren't silent. They spoke to him. Think about that. Enoch, a human, standing before beings that once walked the earth as gods to men. And they recognized him, not as an equal, but as something else, a messenger, because they asked him for something, not freedom, not escape, but mercy. They begged him to speak on their behalf, to carry a message, to ask for forgiveness, because even they knew what they had done. And for a moment, everything shifts, because now Enoch isn't just a witness. He's involved, chosen to carry something between realms. And that raises another question. Why him? Out of all humanity, why was Enoch the one selected? Because this wasn't random. This was deliberate. He was shown things, taught things, given knowledge that no human should have. The same kind of knowledge that once corrupted the world. And yet this time, it wasn't being given to humanity. It was being given to him, alone. And then comes the moment that changes everything. Enoch delivers their message. He speaks on behalf of the Watchers. He asks for mercy, for release, for forgiveness. And the answer he receives is final. No forgiveness, no release, no second chance. Because what they had done could not be undone. And their punishment would not be reversed, ever. And when Enoch brings that answer back, something changes. Because now he understands. Not just what they did, but the consequences of it. The full weight of crossing that boundary. And from that moment, he is no longer just human. He knows too much. He has seen too much. And once knowledge reaches that level, there is no going back. Because now the question isn't just what he saw, it's what he became. And once Enoch understood, there was no returning to what he was before. Because knowledge like that doesn't leave you unchanged. He had seen the structure of reality, the separation between worlds, the punishment of beings that once defied it. And more importantly, he understood something most humans never will. There are limits, boundaries that are not meant to be crossed, and consequences that cannot be undone. So when his journey reached its end, it didn't lead him back to Earth. It led him forward, further, deeper into something else. Because the texts don't describe Enoch as simply staying where he was taken. They describe something else. A transformation. Slow at first, subtle, but irreversible. He was changed, not just in knowledge, but in nature, elevated, separated from humanity itself. And in some ancient interpretations, he is given a new role, not as a man, but as something more, a scribe, a witness, a recorder of things beyond human understanding. Think about that. A human, becoming part of something that exists outside humanity. And if that's true, then Enoch didn't disappear. He didn't vanish. He didn't die. He was reassigned, moved from one existence into another, and that explains something that never quite made sense. Why he never came back. Because it wasn't just that he couldn't return. It's that he no longer belonged. The moment he saw what he saw, the moment he understood what he understood, he crossed a line. The same kind of line that the Watchers crossed. But with one difference. They broke the boundary. He was taken across it. And that difference changed everything. Because the Watchers were punished. But Enoch was preserved. Which raises a final question. Why? Why was one group bound and another elevated? Because if knowledge was the problem before, then why give it to him at all? Unless it wasn't about the knowledge. It was about the purpose. Because knowledge in the wrong hands corrupts, but in the right hands, it records, observes, waits. And if Enoch was changed into something else, something beyond human, then there's one possibility that becomes hard to ignore. He's still there, not as a man, but as something watching, just like the Watchers once did. Except this time, on the other side. And if that's true, then somewhere beyond what we can see, beyond what we understand, there is a record of everything, every action, every decision, every moment, and someone is still writing it down.